Look at this. Look at this. 30 miles per hour, 18% battery under load, 2000 watts. Guys, do you know of any other wheel on the market that could do this? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Now you've hopefully seen the long range test video I posted the other day, and now this is going to be a short MSP range test review. Now, before I could do the range test, I needed about 200 miles to really know the wheel. Check. Next, I had to find out certain limitations of the wheel so that I wouldn't be surprised by anything in terms of behavior of the motor, battery, and overall size of the wheel itself. Check. One of the limitations I was most concerned about was the top speed before the cutout. Although I wasn't able to capture that information safely, I was able to see the cold hard facts using the EUC WORLD app. You can see the video at the top. Check. Finally, one of the most important things for doing a range test in my case is the feel of the pedals, so that I don't end up with cramped feet in the middle of the journey and therefore regretting doing the range test. So after 200 miles of riding, I can comfortably say the wheel feels amazing. And believe it or not, I rode the entire way with only a few stops to record stats and enjoy the scenery. One final addition was knowing how the wheel felt with the bodygaurd sent to me by roll.nz. You can check them out and no, they are not endorsing this video, but that would be cool if they did. Anyway, on with the trip. So my method was not to baby the wheel, since that's not how I would ride anyway. Also, if indeed most of you had insisted I baby the wheel in order to attain a much greater range, I probably would not have done the range test anyway. For me, the purpose of a range test isn't to see how the wheel performs in ideal situations, but non-ideal situations, which you can then extrapolate information from and dial back if you need to. In my case, the range was 20.1 miles, down to 31% battery, no load, and 10 to 15% under load, doing about 23 miles per hour or less. Let's be honest, guys. If your top cruising speed is 23 miles per hour or less, you're pretty much in the emergency status, equivalent to a car driving on its last reserves. As you can see, towards the 19-mile mark, the wheel clearly was tapping out, with anywhere from 18 to 10% battery under load, which means the battery was about 30+% no load. Riding at an average riding speed of about 25+ miles per hour, that's minus stops, with some hard acceleration and a top speed of 37 miles per hour and some high elevations on the trails. The 20.1 mile range seems pretty good for this wheel, considering my weight with gear was 210 pounds. Not to mention, this is a high torque 100-volt machine. Now guys, I want you to take a look at this. Now this was my trip that I did with the range test with the MSP. It's 20.7 miles, right? Total. Now check this out, 36, but my app actually says 37. For some reason, there's a discrepancy every now and then with a mile per hour between the what's registered on the app and what's registered in this environment. So basically, what we see here at the end of the trip towards pretty much low battery, you see that this wheel, and this is why I really love Gotway. It seems like if you go to Gotway's website, they talk about how their primary focus is pretty much battery management. And you can see this, you can really see this by this graph. I'm literally close towards the end of the range test here, and you can see that under low load battery, look over here, under battery, so we're gonna look at battery and speed, right? And you can look at the voltage as well, but look at the battery, look at the speed. I have a 100-volt MSP. And you can see that by the 19 mile trip, I'm still able to do 28, even 30 miles per hour sometimes. So let's go here, let's scrub through and just look at the miles per hour. Okay, look at the speed. And you can see it's 27, 28. Okay, keep going, keep going. Where are we? Where are we? Okay. 29, 20, okay. 20, 29, 29. I did see 30 earlier. Where was it? There it is. 30. It looks like it was just a blip. But yeah, 30% battery. I'm still able to do 30 miles an hour. Okay. So that's anywhere between the 17 to 18 mile range. I'm still hitting the high 20s. Now, obviously, the beeps happen a lot earlier. They occur a lot earlier because the battery's at 24% under load, which means the battery was probably anywhere, I don't know, I usually add 30% to it, so maybe 50. The battery might have been around 50, low 40s or low 50s. But it also depends on how hard you're pushing it. So for example, let's look at a 30 mile per hour. It's 30 miles per hour, okay, come on. Let's see, right here. If we look at it right here, right? Why does it leave when I get, okay, fine. I have to leave the mouse cursor here. Anyway, look at this 30 miles per hour, okay? 30 miles per hour towards the end of my trip. The power consumption, because I wasn't really pushing the wheel, was 1500 watts. Battery at 26% under load. 30 miles per hour. I have a 100 volt MSP, 87 volts. Now let's go a little bit further toward the very end. Look at this, look at this. 30 miles per hour, 18% battery under load, 2000 watts. Guys, do you know of any other wheel on the market that could do this? Kingston can't do it. InMotion can't do it. All right, Ninebot can't do it. This is why I love Gotway, okay? Their battery management under load, okay, at high speeds, at low speeds, whatever, high load, meaning weight. It's just unbelievable to me how they're able to do this. And I first noticed this on the Tesla. I was able to push the Tesla at high speeds at well below 30% under load. And I was like, wow, this wheel is very interesting. InMotion was really close to doing that with their V5F, but for some reason they just went in the other direction with the V10 and the V10F for some reason. Anyway, that's their strategy. But this is the reason I love Gotway. Okay, they literally squeeze out as much performance as they can out of the battery while mixed with amazing BMS, okay, and whatever technology they have in their systems. It would be very interesting to see the range of the 84 volt MSX under the same conditions, in the same temperature, on the same path. My guess is the wheel would have done a lot better if temperature was anywhere above 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, one thing I really like about the 100 volt motor is that compared to the 84 volt motor, which feels grindy at top cruising speeds, very good for feedback purposes by the way, the 100 volt MSP motor is very, very smooth, and it's a bit scary to know just how smooth this thing really is because you almost get no feedback as to how hard you're actually pushing it. Think of a Honda Civic Type R with the VTEC activated after pushing it to its limits. Because it has very low torque and top speed, you get a rush out of this little 2-liter motor because it's high revving, but you will always feel the motor working hard and therefore know exactly how hard you're pushing it. Now compare that to a Lexus RCF sports car, where the engine is so torquey and smooth that you will never really know how hard you've pushed it until the engine blows. Not very comforting, but that's exactly how I felt riding the MSP on this journey. It's just a very smooth and powerful machine, which is why I'm surprised it only does just shy of 41 miles per hour top speed. It feels as if it should be cruising at a much higher speed with all that torque. Furthermore, while riding the trails, the roll.nz bodyguard brought much needed comfort to the inside of my legs due to the added bulk of the MSP and grip as well, without feeling too thick. The material feels sticky, but smooth enough to slide my legs forwards and backwards without too much friction getting in the way. As many of you would agree, this guard makes the MSP look good, very good. At first, I was just happy to cover up the scratch on my wheel from that cutout, but man, It didn't take long for me to fall in love with this design, which actually reminds me of The Incredibles.
Should I take this main road? I'm over here. Oh gosh! Shoot!
Halfway through the trip, when I was at about 58% no load, I actually felt confident that I would make it back home with no issues.
37% under load. 37.
Also, the wheel alerts adapt to your battery percentage, so the power output will be significantly less at a lower percentage. Therefore, I really wasn't worried about pushing it. I was doing about 30 miles per hour at 37% battery under load, which, depending on how hard I was pushing, means the battery was anywhere from 45 to 50% no load. Load is actually a linear factor when it comes to speed. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Overall, guys, the MSP is a joy to ride over long distances, but I would be lying to you if I didn't say bigger pedals wouldn't add to the comfort factor. With that, I highly recommend changing the pedals if comfort is something you care a lot about. Any questions, please share in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time.